Imagine two spy agencies, one from the world's most powerful democracy, the other from a volatile military state, secretly shaping wars, toppling regimes, and double crossing each other, all while pretending to be allies. This is not a movie, it's real. For decades, two intelligence giants, the CIA and Pakistan's ISI, have shared one of the world's most complicated relationships. They fought wars together, spied on each other, saved each other, and betrayed each other, all at once. In the shadows of the Cold War, through the chaos of Afghanistan, and deep into the modern war on terror, these two agencies quietly shaped global events. Yet, most of what they did was never meant to see daylight. This is the real story: how a secret alliance was built on trust, broken by deception, and survived because both sides needed each other more than they cared to admit. The story starts in the 1950s, when the United States saw Pakistan as a crucial ally against Soviet expansion. But things truly took off after the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979. The CIA poured billions of dollars in cash and weapons into Pakistan. The ISI, Pakistan's inter-services intelligence, became the middleman, passing US aid to Afghan fighters or Mujahideen. It was one of the largest covert operations in history. Together, the CIA and ISI helped bleed the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. But they also gave birth to a generation of militants who would later haunt both the countries. The partnership was effective, but dangerous, setting the stage for decades of uneasy cooperation. When the Twin Towers fell on September 11, 2001, everything changed, especially for Pakistan. Overnight, it went from being a peripheral US ally to a critical player in Washington's new war on terror. The US needed access to Afghanistan, and Pakistan controlled the gateways, the airspace, supply routes, and intelligence networks that could make or break the war effort. Under intense American pressure, President Pervez Musharraf pledged full support to the US campaign against Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. In exchange, Washington offered billions in military and economic aid, thereby restoring a partnership that had been dormant since the Cold War. At first, the alliance looked strong. The CIA and Pakistan's ISI worked side by side to capture Al-Qaeda operatives hiding in Pakistan's cities and tribal regions. Dozens of high-profile arrests and drone-targeted strikes followed, and Washington praised Pakistan as a major non-NATO ally. But beneath the cooperation lay deep mistrust. Pakistan's security establishment still saw some militant groups, especially those focused on India or Afghanistan, as useful tools for regional influence. So while the ISI helped the CIA in many missions, it also quietly protected certain networks that it viewed as strategic assets. For the CIA, that duplicity was infuriating. For Pakistan, it was pragmatic survival. Both sides knew that they were playing a double game, and both needed the other way too much to walk away. By the late 2000s, frustration had become the defining feature of the alliance. The US accused Pakistan of sheltering militants.
As I say in the book, it's like keeping poisonous snakes in your backyard, expecting they will only bite your neighbor.
Pakistan accused the US of violating its sovereignty with drone strikes and covert agents. Still, the flow of aid, intelligence, and secret cooperation continued, bound together not by trust or friendship, but by sheer necessity. By the mid-2000s, CIA drones began circling Pakistan's tribal northwest, striking targets linked to Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. The strikes often killed high-profile militants, but also civilians. Publicly, Pakistan's leaders condemned the attacks. Privately, intelligence officers sometimes gave quiet approval or even shared information. For years, both governments maintained a strange dance of denial and cooperation. The result was a campaign that reshaped modern warfare and deepened Pakistani resentment of US power. On 2nd May 2011, US Navy SEALs stormed a walled compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, and killed Osama bin Laden. The operation, planned in secret by the CIA, was done without telling Pakistan. When the world learned that bin Laden had been hiding in a military town, Pakistan's credibility was shattered, and US-Pakistan trust collapsed overnight. The CIA had even used a fake vaccination drive to collect DNA near the compound, a tactic that later caused public fury and led to real health workers being attacked. It was a stunning success for American intelligence, but a humiliation for Pakistan's. The alliance between the CIA and ISI was built on secrecy for a reason. It couldn't survive public scrutiny. Each side distrusted the other's motives. Pakistan accused the US of violating its sovereignty. The CIA suspected Pakistan of sheltering militants. In public, they condemned each other. In private, they often worked hand in hand. The mistrust deepened after the AQ Khan scandal, when Pakistan's top nuclear scientist was found running a secret network selling nuclear technology abroad. For the CIA, it was proof that Pakistan's intelligence and military circles operated far beyond America's control. For Islamabad, US anger over the scandal felt like hypocrisy. A superpower judging an ally it had armed and funded for decades. The fallout only hardened the secrecy and suspicion already defining their covert partnership. For ordinary Pakistanis, the consequences of this alliance were devastating. Drone strikes killed militants, but also families. The use of a vaccination cover by the CIA to capture evidence of bin Laden's presence in Pakistan shattered trust in real doctors. And every time a covert US operation came to light, it stirred anger and anti-American protests. Analysts later argued that while the US achieved tactical wins, the long-term costs in lives, trust, and regional stability were enormous. By the late 2010s, the world around the CIA-Pakistan relationship had transformed. The United States was no longer fighting a full-scale war in Afghanistan, and Pakistan was no longer its indispensable ally in that fight. The old partnership, built on intelligence sharing, secret funding channels, and counter-terrorism priorities, started to fray as both countries redefined their interests. When the US finally withdrew from Afghanistan in 2021, the operational glue that had bound Washington and Islamabad for 2 decades effectively dissolved. The CIA no longer needed Pakistani bases or supply routes in the same way, and Pakistan found itself caught between a new US strategic focus on the Indo-Pacific and its own deepening alliance with China, especially through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Meanwhile, Pakistan's domestic instability, political turmoil, inflation and security threats from groups like the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan forced its leaders to look inward. Washington too had moved on. Its priorities shifted towards countering China and managing global technology and security issues rather than conducting endless counter-terror wars. Still, the CIA and ISI never fully severed ties. Both understood that some level of cooperation was unavoidable, whether for tracking extremist movements, monitoring nuclear materials, or managing crises in Afghanistan. But today, their relationship looks more like a cautious chess match than a covert alliance. There are still phone calls, still quiet exchanges of intelligence, but the mutual suspicion remains. Both sides know too much about the other's secrets to ever truly walk away. And yet, they trust each other too little to ever be close again. Now, the decades-long dance between the CIA and Pakistan's ISI offers 4 key lessons, not just in espionage, but in the limits of power itself. Number 1, allies and adversaries can end up having the same goals. Throughout their relationship, the CIA and ISI fought common enemies, yet constantly doubted each other's intentions. Both were right to do so. Their cooperation was always tactical, never emotional. It's a reminder that in geopolitics, there are no permanent friends, only shifting interests. Number 2, short-term wins often sow long-term chaos. The anti-Soviet jihad of the 1980s achieved its immediate goal, but it left behind militant networks that outlived their patrons. Drone strikes eliminated dangerous men, but they also inflamed entire regions. The pursuit of immediate security often created the conditions for future insecurity. Number 3, when secrecy rules, accountability dies. Both Washington and Islamabad operated in the shadows for decades, denying, deflecting, and deceiving. But secrecy has a price. Citizens rarely get to see what's done in their name, and when the truth finally surfaces, it breeds cynicism and rage. Number 4, mutual dependence never fully disappears. Even after public fallouts, both sides keep coming back to each other. Pakistan still matters as a nuclear state, a strategic crossroads, and a volatile democracy in a dangerous neighborhood. And the CIA still needs eyes and ears in South Asia. The partnership survives not because it's healthy, but because it's necessary. As we come to the end of this video, it is important to understand that ultimately the CIA-Pakistan saga isn't just about spies, drones, or secret raids. It's about two nations forever caught between trust and betrayal. Two powers that helped shape modern history from the shadows and learned that in intelligence, there's no such thing as a clean victory. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, share it with a friend, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And until the next time we meet, stay curious, stay unaligned.